Peggy O'Neill. I'm the founder of this Facebook community, Answering the Call. And the purpose of this group is to support us that are listening to that inner call. We're actually honoring ourselves because we sense that that call is summoning us to something. We're honoring that our being has some sense that there's another possibility. That sense of something missing isn't wrong, that it's actually an indicator. It's a call, it's an invitation. Historically, we look to resolve that call, to fulfill that call by seeking relationships, activities, substances, um, wild experiences or something to fulfill that. And what we're doing here, though, is realizing that won't, in the long run, help us experience the fulfillment that we're seeking on a regular basis. And so we turn within to where the inner call, is actually coming from. We honor that, and then we explore that, and welcome to today's Facebook Live. If you're here live, please say hi in the comments. If you have any comments or questions at any time, please post them, or if you have them after today. So if you're watching this on replay, please put in hashtag replay and also ask any comments or make any comments or questions, and I will respond later. Today, the topic is how to be the open, allowing space that you actually are, that you truly are. So what does that mean? Who we truly are is one with everything. The different names that are used for that are the universe. We're one with the universe, or we are not even with. We are the universe. Other names for the one being is source, spirit, infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom, awareness, consciousness. The religious name is God's infinite being. So any of those names, whichever one resonates with you, that's how you can think about this as I go forward. I'm probably going to use the word consciousness and awareness the most. It's all the same thing. So all there is consciousness. That's all there is. We're all made of, arise out of, and are informed by the consciousness that we are. A nice metaphor for this is the ocean. The ocean there's one ocean, and then there are unique expressions of that ocean in each way. We're a unique expression of consciousness, a unique wave of consciousness, the ocean of consciousness, metaphorically. So think about it. If we think of the ocean just as one being, it's pretty open, right? It's open, allowing. Anything can move through it. Nothing stops it. Another metaphor for the open, allowing space that we are is the space in your room. If you look around your room right now, there's space, empty space. And most of the time we ignore that. We don't really think about it. We think of it kind of as dead air or something, when actually it's consciousness too, in another form. Just like we are consciousness in another form. All there is consciousness. So who we actually are is that open, empty, allowing space of consciousness, because we are consciousness, and we're a unique expression of that in this human form. Our rational minds cannot make much sense of that. So most of the time when you're in these conversations here, you do want to try as best you can to not listen to your rational mind and allow yourself to absorb, to experience what we're talking about here. So we're one being, consciousness. And that consciousness, again, you can think of it similar to an ocean or to the air in your room. It's open and allowing. In the air in the room, if a nasty person walks in yelling and screaming, the air doesn't say, oh, you're not welcome here, get out of here right now. No. If there's a sweet little child coming into the room and playing and dancing and singing, the room doesn't say, oh, you're welcome. So there's no judgment, there's no you're okay, you're not, any of that. It's all open, empty, allowing. And that's who we are. Again, because we're consciousness. We're a wave in this one experience, one knowing. It seems like we're different. I mean, we're separate, sorry, from air or from other things and people because of our conditioning. Talked about that some before. I'll continue to talk about it. I'm not going to go into it beyond that today unless you have a question, so that we can uh, um, keep moving with this conversation. That's who we are, is the open, empty, allowing space. Hi, Sharon. Very happy that you're here. Thank you for being here. So that's who you are, is this open, empty, allowing space. And again, might not feel like it because we do things and think things that are contrary to who we are. We judge other people. We judge ourselves. We're actually separate from ourselves by judging ourselves. We treat ourselves as separate. We even, I mean, if we think about anything we do, and this has been talked about even without the non-dual understandings, that when we're angry at another person, who feels that anger? We do. but so even if we act out against the other person, and maybe they experience the anger that we're expressing, they probably will, we're hurting ourselves and them. Anytime we hurt another person, we're hurting ourselves, because we're all one being. So that's sort of the background. That's what it means to be open, empty, allowing space. If we were who we truly are all the time, in our experience and actions and activities and relationships, we would be the open, empty, allowing space. Now, caveat: that doesn't mean unacceptable behavior is to be tolerated. So we can distinguish that there's unacceptable behavior and not be judgmental of the person. The person is not their behavior. The person is another aspect of consciousness. It's their behavior that's unacceptable. Okay. All right, so now we're the open, empty, allowing space. So how do you do that? How do you live that way? Well, we really begin by allowing ourselves to know who we truly are. It'll be almost impossible to be the open, empty, allowing space by just taking the first 7 minutes of this conversation. Oh, I'm not going to go judge people anymore. I'm going to allow everybody by. It doesn't work because of our conditioning. We automatically think these judgmental thoughts, and then because of our conditioning, we pay attention to them. We think of them as accurate. We think of them as the truth. We think of them as reality. So it does take some unlearning, some unconditioning, in order to be the open, empty, allowing space that we are. So the first place to start is, as often as possible, to experience our essential nature. So we're actually going to do both of the next two bullets that I had on the announcement, how to do that, be the open, empty, allowing space, and an experience of yourself as that. So they do pretty much go together, which is to know our essential nature and our experience. And the best way to do that, well, I don't know if it's the best, but it's a good way that I use all the time, is to remind ourselves first that I'm aware. Right now, you're aware that you're listening to me. You're aware that you're sitting there. You're aware you're looking at your computer and whatever else. We're aware. Notice, oh, I'm aware of all of this. And then notice that you also knew you were aware. You knew you were aware. So we're aware that we're aware. We know that we're aware. And then the opportunity is to sink back. Technically, it's not a sinking back because it's always there. But because we focus so much on the activity of the world and our thoughts and emotions, then that experience that's always there, the vast openness that we are, seems to be kind of in the background. So when we're beginning this, and by beginning this, it could be a long time. It's not a day-long beginning. It could be a year or two or whatever. It doesn't matter how long, that we keep reminding, I'm going to sink back now. And you do it often enough, and then it'll come naturally. So it just depends on how often you do it, which I do it quite a few times during the day because I want to help that experience move into the foreground. of my life. So it's moving more and more into the foreground, and then everything else moves into the background. So we can do that now. So notice, if you're not driving, you can close your eyes and notice, yeah, I'm aware that I'm hearing this voice, and I'm sitting here. And then notice, and I'm aware that I'm aware. Try to stay there, or I know that I'm aware. Try to stay there for just a few seconds. And in that space, what do you notice? People often, me included, notice that it's empty. There's a vastness to it. We can't find edges to it. There's kind of a calm experience. I often refer to it as love, peace, happiness, fulfillment. It's a variations of that. Words aren't quite accurate because it's not something that technically can be described, but that's as close as we can come to it. So to sink back into that experience and feel that, that's the experience that's always been with us our whole lives. Yes, in the background, but that's that sense that we feel like we don't change very much. I feel like the same person I am that I was 30 years ago. And so even though the outer appearance obviously changes, but so we sink back into that, and the more we do that, then we experience ourselves as that vast open empty space. There's nothing there. We can't find boundaries. Our thoughts kind of go to the side because we're not focused on the thoughts. We're paying attention to our essential self. And when we can let that register, we have to let it register, and your thinking mind is going to discount everything I'm saying. So this is an investigatory process. The only way to live what we're talking about here is for each of us to do our own exploration so that our being knows this experience, knows in all its being what we're talking about here. And by know, I don't mean an intellectual concept. I mean know in our bodies, like I know my name, I know I'm sitting here, that kind of knowing. And then it'll be really clear to you, to us, that that's who I am, because that never changes. It doesn't go away, never changes. Whoever, whatever we essentially are, can't ever change. It's essential to us. It can't ever change. And that can't ever change. So we sink back into that, and that reminds our whole being, our body, our mind, our emotions, that that's who we are. Now, the challenges are, of course, one of them I just said, that our thinking mind is going to totally discount all of this. At the beginning, it might be just a fleeting sensation, we feel it for a few seconds, and then our thinking mind's doing it, but then, it just seems like, but that's true, because it didn't last very long, or you might not even notice it the first few times. It does take returning to the knowing that we're aware, the knowing of ourselves. Other challenges is that we're so conditioned to get so involved in day-to-day activities, all of our activities, our deadlines, our to-do lists, the relationships, the TV shows, the dramas of life, and the great experiences of life, that we pay attention to that and don't have much attention on who we truly are. So then with the relationship that we currently have until we release that conditioning, is that what we're doing in the world is always interacting with the world, and that's what will fulfill us, help us be happier, and we use the language make us happier, but we're already happy and fulfilled and peaceful. If we sink back there, we can experience that. So those are the main challenges, I think. Oh, and then we forget what I just said. We forget all of this. We're not even aware of it. I mean, you are now because you're watching or listening to this, but most people don't know what we're talking about. Well, and then we do, but then sometimes we forget. We just get caught up in our traditional historical routines and habits, and we identify with our finite being. It feels limited. It doesn't feel open, empty, allowing. A lot of times, and we don't think about it that way. We're not even paying much attention to our body, our being, but we think we're limited, finite. These body seems to have edges and seems to be matter. And again, science says this is 99.9999% energy. But because of our conditioning, we experience this as a solid body, seeming solid, fairly solid. And of course, to interact in our human experience, that's a useful, it's a useful relationship with our body to have, that we don't try to walk through walls or something. But as we understand who we truly are, then we can have a different relationship with our body than we have had before, knowing that it feels finite and feels limited or solid, because that's how we're to live in our human experience. But we can remind ourselves that we're unlimited, that we're infinite. In fact, we are the space. And at other times we've closed our eyes. When you close your eyes, don't use your memory. You can't find the edges of your body. Let that sink in. That helps us realize, oh, I'm one with this field. I'm one with this field. So those are the main challenges that we forget. We just get caught up in activities, caught up in our thoughts and our emotions, and then focus on all of that instead of our essential nature, the open, empty space that we are. So are there any questions? Any questions or comments? Or thoughts? Well, that's a comment, I guess, but anything you want to add? Okay. So, so what's the opportunity for knowing this? You might have already thought about it when I said that if we know who we truly are, the open, empty, allowing space, there are no judgments. So when we judge, because we will, because we're conditioned to do so, then we allow those judgments to float to the wayside, knowing that's our conditioned behavior. And so we don't have to change ourselves. The more we do everything I'm talking about today, then we naturally move into, and that could be a few years. I'm not saying it's a week-long opportunity, but we don't have to change anything. We just keep removing and returning to our essential nature, and then we start noticing that we're thinking things that don't align, and other thoughts will come to us, and we'll be able to not pay attention to the thoughts that are judgmental and that are closed, limited for us and for other people, because we judge ourselves the harshest. Whatever we're judging about other people, we're harsher on ourselves. So as all this shifts, we have a different relationship with our thoughts and our judgments of ourselves and other people. So it's easier to not pay attention to them, or just to go, oh, okay, and then not get involved with them. And then we shift, and then our way of being starts shifting. Because think about it: if you're judging someone, then what do you think that experience is going to be? It's going to be contracting, right? It's not open and allowing. So as you experience yourself more open and allowing, then that's how you're going to engage with the world, engage with your life, be open to new opportunities, relationships that feel more fulfilling, and where it's easier to get along because you're not walking into the relationship or the conversation with judgments and opinions where you feel contracted. You're not as available. And the other person experiences that. They might not consciously know that's what they're experiencing, but they can feel a tightness in the space. Or our judgments, we feel it with other people. We can tell when other people are judging us if we're paying attention. Judging us in not a supportive way. Something that puts us down. So those are some of the opportunities. And then again, we're infinite beings, so the more we know that that's who we are, open, empty, allowing space, then again, ideas will come to us, creativity will come to us, opportunities, different ways of seeing and experiencing the world and relationships and what's possible, all naturally shift. So that's the value also in knowing this about ourselves, or knowing us as this, knowing ourselves as this. This is a good best way to say that. Okay, so how to be the open, allowing space you truly are is first know it. Just know that that's possible. Take that in, and then to sink back into your essential nature and do that as often as you can. And it just takes, as you saw, just a few seconds. So you stop several times a day or spend 10, 20 minutes at a time sinking back, and thoughts will appear. So you just let the thoughts come and go, and that helps too. And then you just sink back again into your experience. So as often as you can do that, then that helps that move into the foreground, everything else into the background. And then just notice any challenges, any things that tries to stop you, mainly your thinking mind, and not paying attention. But that's okay. Over time, you'll pay more attention to it. You just will, because it actually, in my experience, feels better. It's more enjoyable. It's more expansive, and more flow in life. And so there's a lot of just value in our experience, knowing who we truly are and living as that. So Sharon, any judgment of myself or others is centered around the separate self-experience, not the beings that we are. Beautifully said, Sharon. Exactly. If I'm judging myself or others, then yes, I'm experiencing myself and others as separate. Yep, perfectly said. Can't add to that at all. All right. Thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you. Oh, one more thing. If this is of interest to you, you're thinking, man, I really want to live this as soon as I can. Well, the Praxis is now open. The Wild Ones Out in the Field is now open for registration. And right now the registration is closing this Sunday, September 4th. I'll put the Calendly link in the comments, and you can sign up for a one-on-one session with me where we'll see if it resonates with you. I mean, it's not the kind of program that where I could talk you into it or something. It doesn't work that way. You have to really want to be in the Praxis, because it's challenging. It challenges our understanding of ourselves and the world. But that's okay, because what we're really up to is knowing who we truly are and experiencing life as what's possible. So if you're at all interested, as I started this session today, to notice and honor that, there's some interest here. Let me check it out. And we'll see if it resonates, to see if it's a good fit, so to speak, for you. So I'll put the Calendly link in the comments, and I hope you'll reach out and let's have a conversation. If nothing else, it'd be great just to talk about all of this and get to know you better. So I hope you'll take advantage of the opportunities calls, because my commitment will also be to somehow make a difference in your life during these conversations. So you're welcome, Sharon. Thank you too. Thanks for being here. Okay. Bye, everybody.